Hey Lion, hi folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video for those of you who are new and use he and pronouns. So if you watched my other video about self-worth and the other video about why I look for in a partner, I mentioned like my mental health fell down a cliff and I've just been experiencing some challenges with my own self-worth. And I just did an exercise where I literally wrote down the unhelpful beliefs I had, and then wrote to myself from I wrote to myself from myself, if that makes sense. It's like to left from left sort of thing. And it just hit me and it just made me reflect a lot about I guess the beliefs we hold about ourselves and where it comes from and what's normal for us and everything like that. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, I guess. Where our beliefs come from, how the world we live in really affects us and our views, our understandings, and all of this. And I found this, just doing this in of itself, to be a very powerful exercise, and it's healing. It's really healing for my brain, especially just feeling shit all the time. And this is like, it's healing. It helps me heal, and that's why I want to talk about, I guess, it today too. So as part of the exercise, so I wrote down this unhelpful belief, or this unhelpful core belief I've been holding, which is I don't deserve this work position, this senior work position. And this is just an example. I wrote I don't deserve this senior work position, and then I wrote to myself like, Lev, you were given this position because you deserve it, and management saw that you are capable and you can add value to the team and whatnot. And that just because someone has 10,000 years of work experience and like their CV looks better than mine, it doesn't necessarily mean that they know how to, they have people skills or have important personal traits and characteristics like grit, resilience, etc. And it's vice versa. Like, just because someone doesn't have 10,000 years of work experience, it doesn't mean that they are not capable of doing the job. And that's just the first thing. And as part of doing this exercise, it really made me question, like, where do these core beliefs come from? Like, this, I guess, these unhelpful beliefs, and just it's been eating away at my mental health, and that's why my self-worth hit an all-time low. I'm questioning, where did it come from? Because like, when I always say this, but when we come out of the womb, like, I didn't just come out of the womb and think I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough for this, it's not okay to be me. Like, this is speaking more broadly, not just this example, but just the different things I've held and the beliefs that's been ingrained into me subconsciously, as in, like, without me even realizing, just through the society and the world I live in, and what I'm taught as being normal, and then what's been taught to me as being abnormal, what's good and what's bad. It's just everything just, I didn't come off the womb and think I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough for this, I don't deserve love. I didn't come off the womb thinking that, because I just came out of the womb. Like, infants don't just conjure up these thoughts when they come out of the womb, is what I'm trying to say. So it comes from somewhere, and it's pinpointed, a lot of it for me is pinpointed to this world we live in, the expectations placed on me, etc. Over the years, without even me knowing, like, these neural pathways and automatic ways of thinking, feeling about certain things are built into me, essentially, without me even knowing, and it affects me in ways which I didn't realize. And there's something in psychology called cognitive heuristics, which are essentially mental shortcuts to help us interpret, understand, and navigate the world we live in. For for example, stereotypes. Like when we see someone, certain someone, we're like, okay, this person belongs to this group because of XYZ characteristics. That's an example of a mental shortcut. And in a sense, stereotypes helps us understand the world by grouping people based on certain characteristics to help us. Yes, I guess it takes less energy. It takes less energy for us to understand because we just like, okay, this person is like all these other people, chuck them in this group, done, easy. It's where all the pitfall also comes in because stereotypes can be very damaging and invalidating and inaccurate as well. Just chucking people into certain groups based on a few characteristics, it's just, it's harmful. But that's a lot, I guess that's what we sort of go by in life, like superficial understandings of people, certain things, and it really does also reinforce in a way certain beliefs we hold. um I don't know if beliefs about ourselves, but definitely reinforces beliefs we hold about certain groups of people. For example, men have short hair, which is completely false. Like, men, I guess when we're asked to think of a man, we typically think of someone with short hair. Like the automatic thought is not thinking someone with long hair, because I guess the stereotype for men is that they have short hair and not long hair. That's just one example, and it can be problematic because not all men have short hair, and vice versa, not all women have long hair. The root of all of these stereotypes and stuff comes from somewhere ages ago, before I was born, years and years and years and years ago. So, and it's really hard to, I guess, shift and change because that's been the normal for so long, especially in the system we live in as well, like the societal structure and the systems and everything is just very hard to change. And that's also why I ask a lot of questions and I question things a lot, and I don't just take things and be like, okay, and accept it. I I'm like, I question why, what, when, where, how, ask a million questions because I don't want to take something and then ingrain it into my brain as this is true and accurate without questioning it first, because that's where these beliefs I've had about myself, about not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, not feeling like, when I was younger, not thinking that being myself, living my truth was okay. That's why I was so scared of the whole LGBT journey, and like realizing I wasn't straight and then realizing I wasn't cisgender. I got so scared because that's not normal in society, and the normal is people who are heterosexual and cisgender, and like that has messed me up for so long. So I guess now I'm sort of being open and being like, I hear what you're saying, but, and then internally I'll just question it and then maybe do some research and just not, I guess, ingrain it so easily as being the truth and this is it. Another example I can think of is just feeling like I'm not good enough if I don't achieve high grades at school, in high school and uni. Feeling like I'm a failure if I don't get good grades and, you know, have a job that's like, have a prestigious job and get lots of money. And we all have worth and value as a human being inherently, and doing certain things, achieving certain things doesn't make us better humans, like above other people, and like not being able to achieve things, or yeah, does not make us less than other people. Like, the way I see it is that we are all equal regardless of what we do or do not do, and what we do or do not do does not dictate our worth and value. But sadly, I guess the world we live in isn't like that, and there's a lot of expectations to do, act, achieve certain things, otherwise we're seen as like failures in society. And like, I guess a lot of things are sort of ranked in a social hierarchy. So people with more prestigious jobs are like up here, and then people with less prestigious jobs, whatever, however is defined, are like down here on the bottom. And people who have more wealth are better than all these people who have less wealth. And it's just the way like everything is just classed as people being above and below other people just because of certain things they've done in life, or how much how much how much money they have, or the their possessions, their achievements, everything. I don't I don't like it. And I guess that's why there's this, just living in this world, there's this pressure and expectation to do great things, otherwise we'll end up down here as society classes it. Another thing that really bugs me is how talking about mental health is still taboo in a lot of places around the world, and it's not seen as okay compared to physical health. Like, it's sort of shunned, and the world we live in has taught us that it is not okay to talk about feelings and stuff, especially men. It's not okay to talk about feelings. It's not okay to be vulnerable. We have to put in this mask that we're all good, and I guess filter ourselves to display to the world. Otherwise, we're going to be, unfortunately, judged, criticized, ostracized, rejected, just because we are being human, and we are we're trying to meet the person where we're at. Like, okay, this is where I am at. This is what I'm experiencing right now, and then that's not that's seen as not okay. And the more it happens, and just living in this world in general again, it's ingrained into us that it's not okay to be vulnerable and talk about feelings and all of this. It's You have to keep your mouth shut. Don't talk about this because it's not okay and it's not acceptable. And if we do decide to talk about it, there are negative consequences. There can be negative consequences for it. Honestly, whenever someone asks me how are you doing, or are you doing okay, if I'm not doing okay, most of the time I say, no, I'm not doing okay, actually. I'm actually having a really rough time at the moment. There are some exceptions. For example, if I work with a client and they ask me how I'm doing, I'm not going to spill my entire life story and my troubles to them, because that's not appropriate in the work context, because I'm here to support them and they are not here to support me through my rough times, if that makes sense, because that's not my job. My job isn't to tell them my life story and they can help me. So there are circumstances where I intentionally choose to say I'm good when I'm not good, but usually because, yeah, of like professional boundaries or having a legitimate reason. In general, if someone asks me, are you doing okay? And how are you? And I'm not doing okay, I will say I'm not okay. Because I'm like, I don't want you to ask me this question for the sake of asking me this question. Like, if you ask me this question, be prepared to receive an honest answer. Because I do not like just saying I'm fine for the sake of saying I'm fine. And me also telling people, no, I'm not actually okay, it sort of breaks I guess, it breaks what's been ingrained into all of our heads, that talking about this stuff is not okay and we have to say we're fine every time we ask if we're doing okay. and it really says to people like it's okay to be vulnerable. I guess me in general, I I did in the reflection thing, but I realized that just me existing, living my truth, living life the way I do, just complete transparency, honesty, vulnerable, no filter, bullshit, nothing. It challenges the status quo and what society, I guess, what society considers as being normal. Because again, we're taught don't talk about feelings, don't be vulnerable, don't be human. You must act, dress, do, say X, Y, Z to fit in, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah. So just I realized me existing, being trans, doing all of this, just like is a giant fuck you to the society we live in and the status quo, and I'm just going against the grain. Like the grain is very against me and I'm just going against it. Wow, like that was really liberating actually. Like it's just like it just clicked in my head that like what I'm doing and the way I'm living my life is a giant fuck you to the status quo and what's expected in society. Like that's a very liberating feeling. It just hit me right now. And I never thought of it like that, to be honest. But I'm not gonna, I guess, go into my past because I can talk about it in other videos. Otherwise, this video is gonna be like an hour long. But I wasn't always like this, and it took a lot of work and many years of breaking out of the automatic cycle that I've been taught and formulating my own cycle and automatic thought process of how I live my life and see things, etc. It took a long time to break out of the automatic and what's been ingrained in my head because it's stuck with me since I came out of the womb. Like the world has imprinted stuff on me, and it takes a lot of effort to go against what's been taught to me as being normal. Like it takes a lot of effort to break that entire chain and build my own chain. But that's what I've been doing, and that's why, again, the giant fuck you to the status quo right now and expectations is just very liberating. The direction of this video sort of went on a tangent to what I was originally. I mean, it links to what I was originally saying about questioning everything instead of just accepting it as okay, this is truth and this is accurate of me. Yeah, I guess building on that point also, just asking ourselves, is this accurate of me? Is this representative of who I am as a person, the way I live my life, my operating system, or is this just what's been told to me and I've accepted it and not questioned it at all? Yeah, just questioning, is this me? Is this statement, phrase, sentence, whatever it is, accurate of me? And if not, it can be helpful to ask, where did this come from? What is the root of this? And then for me, I pinpointed the root to just societal conditioning and just having all these expectations and not feeling good enough. And it really frustrates me also that, again, always links back to vulnerability because I am very vulnerable and I live a very honest life. And so when things are incongruent for me, like if the way I live my life is incongruent with who I am and everything, it just messes me up severely. And I don't like how, in general, the world we live in shuns vulnerability because for me, I like to see people and know people, get to know people, see people for who they are without the filters and having to filter out their life to just only show the acceptable parts, and also photos online, just having to filter, just put millions of filters on things so we look acceptable in a way, and just doing all of this unnecessary stuff that sort of I don't know if it's unnecessary. Just doing all of these things to cover up and hide our raw selves, it really frustrates me because I want to get to know people and see people for who they are at the core without 10 million filters over it. I don't want to just see people's mask that they displaying to the world, that this mask that we've conjured up and displayed to the world as being an acceptable version of ourselves. I want to see people for who they are truly. But again, the world we live in general does not facilitate this whatsoever. So it's very hard to do it because it's not normal. It's not normal, and doing it means going against the grain, and going against the grain is, it can be scary. Like going against the grain, just like fuck you to everything, all these rules, and just doing our own thing. That's not easy. And again, I didn't come out the womb this confident. Little bit of context, I was a kid with severe social anxiety. Like I could have not imagined, younger Lev could have not imagined the version of Lev that exists today, doing everything that he's doing, the way he lives his life. I would not, the younger Lev did not see this coming whatsoever. And it took a lot of me being in discomfort and just literally confronting fear that I've been running from for so long, and just leveraging this fear, leveraging this discomfort to grow into a better version of myself, and just repeatedly grow into a better version of myself, just leveling up and then doing work on myself and then leveling up again, doing work on myself, leveling up again. And I'm gonna keep doing this until the day I die. There's not gonna be a point in time where I'm like, I'm fully content with where I'm at. I am the best version of me possible. Nothing else can improve or change. That's not that's not it. Like I'm just gonna keep doing this until the day I die. And yes, it was shit scary, but I can tell you it is absolutely worth it. Just breaking down all of these ingrained thoughts, questioning everything, rewiring our neurocircuitry, our brain, building new automatic thought processes, and then just living life that's genuine to us, genuine to living a life genuine to you, where you don't feel the need to filter and selectively pick out things to display to the world, being your 100% raw, vulnerable self, just doing all of this, and then eventually saying fuck you to the status quo. It's again, it's a lot of work, but it is absolutely worth it, and I don't regret going down this path whatsoever. I think that's all the ideas I had for now. Like I sort of went on a tangent, and I don't know what I'm gonna call this video, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you in the next video.